Have you ever thought that a simple quarter in your pocket could be worth thousands of dollars? Most people don't. A lot of us carry change every day and never stop to look at the year or the details on a coin. But what if I told you that a 1965 Washington quarter could sell for over $11,000? Sounds crazy, right? But it's true, and today I'm going to explain why this particular coin is so valuable, what mistakes or errors to look for, and how a regular-looking quarter turned into a collector's dream. Don't worry, I'll keep things very simple so anyone can understand. Let's start from the beginning. In the United States, the quarter is a coin worth 25 cents. The design most people are familiar with is the Washington quarter. This coin has been used for a long time, and the front side of the coin shows the face of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The back side of the older quarters shows an eagle with its wings spread. This design started in 1932 and stayed mostly the same for many years. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But something changed in 1965 that made this year very important for coin collectors. In 1965, the U.S. government decided to stop using silver to make quarters and dimes. Silver had become too expensive, and the government wanted to save money. So, they passed a law that changed the way coins were made. From that year forward, quarters were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were made using a clad method, which means the coin has layers. The outside layers are made of copper and nickel, and the inside is solid copper. This is the kind of quarter we use today. The new quarters made in 1965 were lighter than the silver ones. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams, while a clad quarter weighs around 5.67 grams. That may not sound like a big difference, but it's very important when trying to figure out if a coin is special or not. Because of this big change in coin materials, a few mistakes were made at the U.S. Mint. That's where coins are produced. During the transition from silver to clad, some silver blanks were still in the machines and accidentally got used. A blank is just the flat piece of metal that gets stamped to become a coin. When a silver blank was used by mistake in 1965, it created a rare and valuable coin. These mistake coins are now called silver planchet errors or transitional errors. A silver 1965 quarter is not supposed to exist. That's why collectors are willing to pay a lot of money for them. Only a small number have been found, and when they are in good condition, they sell for thousands of dollars. One example of a silver 1965 quarter sold for over $14,000 at an auction. Others have sold for $7,000, $9,000, or more depending on their condition and grade. Grade is a term used to describe how good the condition of the coin is. Coins that look brand new are called uncirculated or mint state, and they are worth more money. It's important to know that most 1965 quarters are not silver. Most of them are the regular clad version and are only worth face value just 25 cents. But there are some signs you can look for to tell if a coin might be silver. The first thing to do is check the edge of the coin. If you see a reddish or brownish line on the edge, that means it's the regular clad coin with a copper core. But if the edge looks completely silver, with no copper showing, it could be one of the rare silver ones. Another test is to weigh the coin. If it weighs around 6.25 grams, it might be silver. If it weighs closer to 5.67 grams, it's likely just a regular coin. There are other types of errors too that can make a 1965 quarter valuable. One of them is called a double die error. This happens when the die that stamps the design onto the coin has a slight shift, so the letters or numbers look like they have a shadow or are printed twice. Some 1965 quarters have been found with this kind of error on the front side of the coin. These can also be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if they're in good condition. Another error is when a coin is struck off-center. That means the blank wasn't lined up correctly in the machine, so part of the design is missing or pushed to one side. These are called off-center errors. The more off-center the coin and if the date is still visible, the more valuable it can be. Some off-center 1965 quarters have sold for over $300 depending on how extreme the error is. There are also cases of double reverse coins, where both sides of the coin have the eagle design instead of one side being George Washington. These are extremely rare and could sell for tens of thousands of dollars. But be careful, because there are a lot of fake coins like this online. Some people glue two coin backs together to try and trick people. Always make sure the coin is real and has been graded by a professional company like PCGS or NGC. A very interesting part of the story is how these silver errors happened in the first place. Remember, 1965 was a transition year. The mint was changing the materials used for coins, and things were a bit messy. Some leftover silver blanks from 1964 might have still been in the machines or in storage. These blanks were supposed to be melted down or removed, but a few of them accidentally made it through and got stamped with the 1965 design. That's how these silver 1965 quarters came into existence. They weren't made on purpose. It was a mistake but a very valuable one. Many people hear about the 1965 quarter that sold for $11,400. That number is used a lot in articles and videos, and it comes from examples of silver era quarters that sold in auctions. While not every silver 1965 quarter sells for exactly that amount, the number gives people an idea of how valuable one can be. The price depends on the condition, the rarity of the specific era, and how much collectors are willing to pay. Even regular 1965 quarters can be worth something if they are in perfect condition. For example, if you find a quarter from 1965 that looks brand new, with no scratches or wear, it could be graded as MS-68. That's a very high grade. Coins like this have sold for over $1,000. That's still a lot more than just 25 cents. It shows how much value condition can add, even without a major error. There's also something called a special mint set, or SMS. In 1965, the U.S. Mint made a limited number of coins that were not meant for circulation. They were packaged for collectors and had a better appearance than regular coins. These SMS coins were made at the San Francisco Mint, but they do not have a mint mark. Some 1965 SMS quarters are very well made and are also worth more than usual, sometimes up to $200 or more, depending on the grade. But again, they are still clad, not silver. So, what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1965 quarter? First, look at the edge. If it's fully silver colored and has no copper stripe, that's a good sign. Second, weigh the coin with a digital scale. If it's heavier than normal, that's another clue. Third, look closely at the letters and numbers to see if there's any doubling. You can also check for other errors, like missing parts of the design or off-center strikes. If the coin looks unusual, the best thing to do is send it to a professional grading company. They will examine the coin and tell you if it's real and what it's worth. This step is very important, especially if someone is offering to buy the coin for a lot of money. Never sell a coin without knowing its real value first. Also, be careful of fakes. There are coins out there that have been altered to look silver, or people try to scam collectors by selling coins that are not real. Some fake coins are painted, others are made using two different coins glued together. The best protection is to have the coin checked by experts. Companies like PCGS, NGC, and ANAX are trusted and well known for grading coins accurately. Coin collecting can be a fun and exciting hobby. You never know when you might find something valuable. Checking your spare change, going through old jars of coins, or looking at collections from parents or grandparents can sometimes lead to great discoveries. A simple coin could end up being worth thousands of dollars, and all it takes is a little time to check. The 1965 quarter is a great example of this. Most are common, but a small number are rare and valuable, especially the silver ones or coins with major errors. In the end, each coin has its own story. The 1965 quarter represents a big change in U.S. coin history from silver to clad, and during that change, a few special coins were created by accident. These mistake coins are now worth a lot of money, and collectors are always searching for them. Whether it's a silver planchet error, a double die, an off-center strike, or just a perfect condition quarter, each one has a different value and a different place in the collector world.